Hi there, this is Ethan Wise, and I have another update. This one is for the entire month of February. It is the beginning of March now, 2022, and it's time to look back at last month and see what pictures I am going to share. There's a lot to share because we're talking about an entire month, but I am going to keep a couple topics out of here, mainly to keep this one short. And these topics are how to prepare your land to receive a storage shed, and the other one is internet in the desert, lessons learned. So look for those videos. I will have to use the pictures and create a slideshow and narrate those on their own. Let's start by talking about my living situation. It remains the same. For those of you that know me privately, know what I'm doing, but I haven't talked about that online. It is closer to camping than it is anything else, living minimally and for free. I have basically sold everything that I own that I could sell that I did not need here. In order to facilitate my ability to leave the Midwest, come here, purchase acreage, and develop this project or this dream. So I am not going to spend money renting an apartment or living in a hotel if I can do it for free. Yes, it is different than anything I've done before. And in doing that, I find that actually an adventure and an exciting thing to try. I know it is temporary, so this is an adventure for me by choice, and I'm enjoying it. Does push my limit of comfort at some times, but it's nothing that I haven't experienced in the past. And I, as usual, I have been able to turn every opportunity of discomfort every discomfort into an opportunity to practice mindfulness, practice observing my thoughts, practice gratitude. And it's been a really, really, really beneficial experience, in my opinion, close to the benefit that I acquired from my winter hikes in the Midwest, where I would go walk on frozen lakes and walk in the middle of the winter by myself. It's a similar experience where you are with yourself, watching your experience and then watching the inner interpretation. And then, if you want, you can change it and see how things change along with that. Pretty cool. Yep, so that's the living situation. It's still the same. I am not living on the land yet. I am there a lot. And the next topic has to do with this photo that shows you a no trespassing sign or a posted sign. This specific one says private property, no trespassing, and danger, construction area, keep out. The reason for this, of course, it is normal when you have rural property or any land for you to put no trespassing signs on them. It is inevitable that you will eventually have to do that. I have had to expedite my plan to install the signs and the fencing because of information that I learned about the history of some of the neighbors that live actually miles away from here, but within the same POA or association. While the majority of the neighbors here are mature, regular, normal, rural residents who keep to themselves, apparently Some here have a different understanding of what rural life means, and a different understanding of property rights and the respect of other people's property, boundaries, and privacy. So I have spent a lot of time reading and researching the history of this POA by talking to people of all ages, old and young, new and old, ones that have been here for decades and ones that just moved in. And from all sides, I exchanged emails, I exchanged messages and in-person meetings with various people with various opinions. And then I went and I received conflicting stories, so I had to go online and read past minute notes from past or previous board meetings of this association to try and make a sense of what I'm hearing, try to get a better picture that is a little more well-rounded, because usually, the truth is in the eyes of the beholder, and the truth is usually somewhere in between the conflicting stories that you hear, more or less. But one example is that, one metaphor is that there is a lot of smoke, and there is always a fire behind the smoke, and I'm trying to get to see the fire, not the smoke. So I'm noticing a lot of politics going on currently, but also in the past. The history is full of interesting behavior and actions, and I'm observing dishonesty by people who are adults but frankly behave like children. Lots of those people have irritated other people and caused burnt bridges, lost opportunities of friendship, and lost opportunities of neighbors working together. And that is unfortunate to see, to be frank. A lot of distrust also that comes with that. So and sometimes it feels like this is like a high school, or some people think it is a high school, where they're competing with each other and bullying each other and gossiping about each other. None of these things exist in my life. I do not approve of any of that. So I felt a need that I need to dedicate many hours during the month of February into researching all of this stuff, unfortunately, because I have better things to do, like building this project and other things, but I needed to make sure I understand what's happening, and also that I need to know what to do about it. So I submitted additional paperwork to the board, worded carefully to make sure that I am adding additional protection for my peace of mind for the future, to protect the privacy of the land and the people that will be here on this land, and frankly the entire future and well-being of this entire project, because apparently not every neighbor around here wishes the best for the other neighbor, and some of them are dishonest and have ulterior intentions, which I know exists in this world, but I am saddened to see existing here in my backyard. This research and the paperwork, the signage that I put out, and other measures that I have started to take here on the property are all an act of prevention, an act of communication, and me being a responsible adult. I am trying to communicate clearly with others about my boundaries. I do not have fencing yet. I don't even have a gate at the entrance. So I had to use signs to create this metaphorical line in the sand and indicate to people that this is what I expect, and this is also Arizona law. In Arizona, the cattle graze freely, and if you want to keep them out of your land, it's up to you to put up some barbed wire and T-posts to keep the cattle out. That is how it is here, and that is totally okay. And when it comes to humans, of course, barbed wire is not going to stop anybody, but you need to have signage. You need to have signs that are posted that say no trespassing or private property, keep out. Once you do that, then if somebody does cross the line, then they are trespassing. Without having appropriate signage, legally they can't trespass, even if you have barbed wire fencing. So in Arizona, you need a sign in each corner of the property and at each entry point and every quarter mile, so that it's clear to people that this is private property and the owner wants people to know that. So one of my signs at the entrance say that please make an appointment, no visitations without appointment. And I had to do this because this is how I am with others. If anybody knows me, I rarely call you and say I'm coming over, and I rarely, if ever, I almost never do this unless it's an emergency, which luckily never happens. So I never just show up without announcing myself first. I always schedule, and I usually schedule days ahead of time because of my own busy schedule. So likewise, I have the busy schedule when I'm at home, and I don't want to be rude to people who show up and tell them sorry I can't talk, wave at them from distance, because I am busy. Not only I might be working with a contractor or in the middle of building something with a friend or in the middle of meditation or praying, whatever, but I might also be on the telephone doing a session with a client using Zoom or using the telephone. And very soon here, I am going to be getting back to working with clients remotely, and I'm going to get very busy working with people in a session online from the inside of my dwelling here. So just because my car is outside doesn't mean I'm available. Also, this is a place of peace, serenity, and harmony for my clients who, for some of them, will be coming here physically and spending a couple nights while they're doing therapy with me. And I have an expectation of privacy for my clients, and I'm assuming my clients expect me to protect their privacy and provide them a safe place to live. So we can't have any weird personalities thinking that it's okay to use binoculars or a drone or anything like that. I don't want to go into any details here because of the nature of the situation and the nature of the people involved in the situation and their personality. But I'm just gonna say that I'm doing my part in communicating to them my expectation and announcing it to them clearly. Of course, this is not the same for a good friend that I know well and I trust, or for my next door neighbor who I have good rapport with and I respect, or on weekends. So these are exceptions, but the norm is if you're gonna come over, you better call me days ahead of time to schedule with me, please. Additionally, we live in the desert, and we do live close enough to the Mexican border that everybody here is basically their own police. Everybody here is armed, and I'm not going to elaborate more on that, including myself. I am armed, but I'm not going to discuss any of that here. This is a part of being responsible, a responsible adult, a responsible desert dweller. And over my lifetime, I have been a student of human nature and the human condition. I have observed people all of my life. I have observed intently and watched and watched and watched. I studied philosophy and eventually studied psychology and eventually went into grad school and became a mental health professional. and it's been a bunch of years now of me working with clients. I understand the human nature because I am a human. I have done my own work, and I'm not going to go into that in this video, but I'm sure other videos will discuss the nature of what a human is, the ego, the aspect of fear, the aspect of perception, and perception is a big one. So I also have a sense of intuition where I can predict or I can get a sense of the level of honesty of somebody that's in front of me, which allows me to predict their behavior. And also, there is nothing better than looking at the past as a predictor of future behavior. And by looking at the past, by speaking with people and doing my research, what I have found makes me caused me to take these actions and prioritize the communication to establish boundaries, because not everybody out there is like me. Not everybody out there is like you. Not everybody just assumes that you have to respect people's property and privacy. Not everybody has the same ethical standards or morality that you have, or the reasoning in their brain that you might have. People that take actions usually have a reason for them and usually have a justification. And I have spoken to these people and I did not hear any sort of regret or apology, but only denials, which is a red flag in my book and in my world of profession. So personally, I don't care about these people. We do not need to be friends. Okay, it is a different situation. Being neighborly and being friends are two different things, and it is not required at all. In fact, I am myself more of a solitary person, and I'm extremely picky about who I talk with. My concern is what these people might do within the structure or the platform of the POA or the association, based on what I have discovered from the past. The POA is supposed to take care of the streets and to be professional, to be fair and equitable, treat people equally without discrimination. That is a basic expectation I would have from any corporation or any professional body in this country. And I have seen in the past where a few individuals were able to abuse, in my opinion, the POA structure, which is basically what they call enforcement of those CCRs, like the rules, but enforce them based on the whims of one or two or three or maybe four, but usually four or less individuals that have their own issues that need to just go and deal with their own stuff and leave people alone. It is literally child's play, unprofessional and discriminatory at best. It is completely unacceptable, especially for the association to allow childish behavior to influence it. Now, lucky for me, the board right now is excellent. They have approved my architectural review plans, and they have been fair and they have been accepting, and that is awesome. But like I mentioned, history tends to repeat itself sometimes, and I know that those people still exist and they have not changed, because rarely do humans actually change if they do not acknowledge that change is needed. And by speaking with them, I intuited, or let's say I concluded that there's no on their part. I literally heard things like there's nothing needed to be changed and everything is good and I'm right. So nothing's gonna change. Nothing has changed in years. So I am doing my part to ensure that none of that weird action from the past, I'm picking my words carefully, I'm calling it weird, I'm going to call it shady, I'm going to call it unprofessional, childish. I think these are assessments, in my opinion, None of that stuff is allowed to happen, and that's why I'm doing my due diligence and currently doing the paperwork, spending endless hours on the paperwork and on the research, and prioritizing the fencing, the gates, the cameras, the signage, and other things I will not discuss here, and basically that. And now let's take a look at the next set of photos here. All of those are from the month of February, and these are the ones I'm willing to share. There aren't too many more that I am not sharing, frankly. Did not take too many pictures that month, but here is the first one, and this is basically all relating to receiving a shed that I ordered, and this is the site preparation for the shed. I'm gonna go through those pictures quickly because I'm gonna make a different video. But what's happening here is that I am applying hardware cloth that is pretty fine. It's the finest mesh, and on the ground to cover the entirety of the ground underneath where the shed will be, and then going out to the sides a little more in order to fold this up and staple it in order to create a boundary to keep the mice out, because mice will do what mice do. Mice, that is their job. Desert, whether it's a desert or the middle of the Midwest, mice are a fact of life, and it is up to you to be the adult to avoid future problems by just doing the right thing in the beginning, and then constantly revisiting your boundaries and your measures to make sure that they have not been compromised, because the mice will keep testing them, and then the snakes will follow and you will end up with a bigger issue. And with that said, my friends, I really want to thank everybody so much for sticking with me with this long video. Thank you for enduring. This is probably the longest one I have so far. Thank you all for your support and love and prayers. Keep them coming. And if you feel like coming to the desert to volunteer, help me with construction, or discuss philosophy, do contact me, of course, ahead of time. Nobody is allowed to show up unannounced without a schedule, especially now that I am making videos, which is a new experience for me, to be honest. And let's hope it is the wise action to do here, but don't make me regret making these videos, please. So everybody be professional, be respectful, be an adult, know your boundaries. You know my boundaries, and I expect you to respect my boundaries. That goes without saying. So, but find my email address in the discussion, in the description, or find my contact form on the website, and then reach out. And if we can work together, we will work together. Okay? With that said, everybody take care, be well, and all the best to you. See you in the next video. Bye.